said here. So it's very important to underline this. The 500 square kilometers that will be flooded are entirely outside indigenous lands and amounts to a third of the previous projects. 40 actions have been proposed to mitigate social environmental impacts in the region at a cost of $1.5 billion. In compliance with ILO Convention 169, which you reminded us, Mr. Chairman, that Brazil is a part of, consultations are underway with the indigenous communities, which have a stake in the issue. But it must be noted that Belo Monte will affect mostly the city of Altamira and will not flood indigenous lands. 30 meetings have been held with indigenous inhabitants in villages with the participation of FUNAI, which is the foundation on indigenous communities in Brazil, the ombudsman of which is here with us, Dr. Paulo Oliveira, and the technicians and officials from the state power enterprise Eletronorte have been at these consultations with indigenous villages with a view to enabling dialogue and acknowledge the concerns of those communities. The interpreters at those meetings hailed from the Xicrim of Bacajá, Paracanã, Arauete, Arara, and Assurini communities, translating to and from their mother tongues. A public audience was conducted in the city of Altamira with the participation of 200 representatives of indigenous peoples. FUNAI required that the contractors undertake complementary studies on the Bacajá Basin and on the impact of the logging industry on the Chipaya and Curuaya indigenous lands. Additional preconditions were set for the implementations of the project, including the withdrawal of non-indigenous settlers from the Apiterewa, Cachoeira Seca, and Arara da Volta Grande do Xingu indigenous lands. Likewise, the Environmental Authority has been requested to further consider the ecological feasibility and impact on the reproduction of the fish stocks in the Xingu and how that might affect indigenous populations. Guidelines have been adopted on programs and compensation measures, which will be further defined through dialogue with indigenous communities. Brazil is also preparing an in-depth response to the Special Rapporteur on the Belo Monte project. We're much indebted for having given the right to explain our point of view. Thank you.